Alright guys, the time is now for a showdown between the High Elves, who are going to be led by Tyrion, and the Dark Elves, who are going to be led by Darth Malekith. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So yes guys, it has been quite some time since we've seen Tyrion here on the channel, and I kind of figured it'd be a little bit fun to try him out, give him a chance, and I do think he might have a bit of a niche in the Dark Elf matchup simply because he's a really good assassin against lightly armored targets, he has 95 speed and just insane combat stats. Probably some of the highest in the game for like a heroic unit. So he does have 79, 72, 490, and a charge bonus of 90. One of the issues with Tyrion is that he does have a little bit of, I would say his armor piercing values are a little bit low. And if he did get a buff to his AP, I think he would be a little bit more competitive. I'm pretty sure he did get some buffs earlier on, but if he was like a really true dedicated armor piercing character, I definitely think he could be a very scary assassin. But regardless, a lot of Dark Elf players I've been seeing in tournaments as well as on ladder are bringing these Supreme Sorceress. So sometimes you see her on foot, sometimes you'll see Marathi. I was like, you know what, maybe we'll give Tyrion a try, and if they do have the Supreme Sorceress or some other lightly armored lord that I can take out, maybe Tyrion won't be such a bad choice. So we do have Tyrion here. We're going to be giving him a chance, see how he does. He does, of course, have Sunfang, so that should be pretty cool. In the skirmish area, we do have two groups of the Reaver Archers, always pretty good against Dark Elves. Number one, they can hard counter Dark Riders with repeater crossbows because they can chase them down, they can fire 360, and they're far superior in melee to Dark Riders. So even the Archer variant of the Reaver Archers can do very well against standard Dark Riders and things that are going to be pressuring your back line. So I really like them for battlefield control. And on top of that, against targets like the Mighty Charybdis, which isn't terribly common, but even against Witch Elves and Sisters of Slaughter, which are common picks for the most part, these guys are going to do some really good work in the skirmish game. For the front line, a little bit low tier, it's just going to be Spearmen, the Signs of Methlon here in the middle, 3 Archers in the back. So we're going to be trying to focus down the Witch Elves and the Charybdis and those other squishy targets with our Archer firing line. It's giving them a whirl. We have one group of Spears in the back, and we also have the Fireborn. So the Fireborn, pretty strong. In terms of quality, can definitely dumpster any of the Dark Elf Cav equivalents. And yeah, you just got to watch out for like Fade of Butin type effects and letting them get caught up in the Witch Elves, which I always do, but you know what? We're going to see how it goes. And last but not least, guys, we do have the Great Walmart Dragon. So the Walmart Dragon isn't going to win versus like other monsters typically, but it's definitely good for breathing its cheesy Dorito breath on like all these heroic infantry. Well, Argoneth Executioners, Bleak Swords, if you get good rear charges into infantry lines that are kind of on the edge of breaking, this guy does cause fear and terror. So definitely brings some good utility, and he's pretty cheap as is everything. So that's pretty much it for my army here. For my opponent, a couple front line. Oh, not a couple front line. He only has one front line. Argoneth Executioners. He does have some Bleak Swords on the flanks to absorb missiles and skirmish and things like that. He does have Witch Elves in the back. So the Sisters of Singing Doom. Definitely a cool unit. Very powerful offensive stats. And they also cause fear and terror. So I'm pretty sure the High Elf Spearmen are not immune to psychology. They could definitely get routed. He does have the Charybdis here. So the Charybdis pretty spooky, anti-large, armor piercing. Pretty good tool against like the Fireborn. Granted, the Fireborn will give it right back. So there's going to be a little bit of fisticuffs action going on here. I think the Charybdis costs like 400 less too, but very cool unit. It has this Abyssal Horror or Abyssal Howl that gives -8 leadership to all nearby troops. Not so devastating against High Elves since base leadership is super high, but still neat. Malekith up here with the Soul Stealer, Chillwind, Power of Darkness. Cold One Knights, pretty cool stuff there. And then he does have some Dark Riders on the other side. So the Dark Riders definitely out and open a little bit. Pretty open to my Reavers here. I think Reavers are about the same speed. They're actually 95, 90. So yeah, they're a little bit slower than Dark Riders. But anyways, getting some decent volleys here. Some Archers are going to open up shop. And you can see the Walmart Breath getting some pretty substantial damage on the Argoneth Executioner, so very happy about that. But at this point, I was like, I kind of had his Dark Riders cornered a little bit, so I was like, I'm just going to engage in melee, I'm going to go fight. My opponent, of course, is going to be kiting backwards, but that's where it's really good for Reavers, because they can fire 360, they can fire while they're chasing, whereas the Dark Riders can't really respond. And the Reavers will definitely do very good. But in the main fight, the Dragon Breath doing some pretty good work, and I'm just going to get all 4 of my Archers until the Charybdis is in range and just focus down some of his elite troops. So I did some okay damage to the Argoneth, but now it's time for the Charybdis. I can't let that monster go unimpeded. Also, there's some free charges over here, so his Cold One Knights were kind of rotating to the middle of the formation. So right here, I get my Fireborn. I'm like, you know, I'm just going to do a downhill Rohirrim charge here. So we get a really nice charge, definitely doing some huge damage to some of these guys. The Fireborn, even though it has anti-large, are pretty good against infantry as well. So some of those Bleak Swords flying in front of the screen, always a good time, and yeah, they get tracked pretty good. So the Fireborn charge in there, we will be pulling back immediately because of the Witch Elves, and you can see the firepower from the High Elf Archers is just going to be pouring into the Charybdis. And just to kind of bunch up that front line, I send in my Walmart Dragon. The Fireborn are also going to be piling in, doing as much damage as we can to the Charybdis. Tyrion is going to charge in as well, very good against lightly armored targets, and the Charybdis is lightly armored with 50 armor. The Cold One Knights are getting up and around the flank, so I do pull my reserve Spearmen. It looks like he's trying to find a home, and he's just going to commit to the center battle. So the Sisters of Singing Doom are going to be pushing in here. The Cold One Knights are going to be pushing in. I'm definitely going to take some pretty heavy casualties, even though I did get the initiative. My opponent had a really good response. So he used a Soul Stealer. You can see that one silent. Just tumbling. It's always makes me laugh when there's like a single unit tumbling. Tyrion's in there, and it's getting pretty wild. You can see that he actually does rampage my dragon, so I was really committed to that and like wanting to finish off the Charybdis. But unfortunately, Tyrion and the Scions and a lot of those guys are rampaging in the Witch Elves and Sisters of Singing Doom. So suddenly a situation that looks super good for me. Ooh, very, very good gaze of Malice for my opponent there. Although it looks like it didn't do as much damage as I thought it would, even though I hit like the whole formation. But Tyrion's in a little bit of a bad situation. But something a lot of people don't know about Tyrion is he has an item called the Heart of Averlorn or something that when he gets below 10%, he gets like a massive heal. So I don't know if it's like, I feel like it's almost every time, but I feel like it's like a chance to proc. But sometimes if he gets focused like this, he can heal up so insane, and it's just game-changing. So the bounce power currently in my favor. I did kill the Charybdis for the most part. It's not going to really do much the rest of the game here. In the back too, you can see the Dark Riders have been pretty much cleaned up. He did turn and fight eventually, but it does favor the Reavers pretty heavily. So I'm just chasing those guys off. My Reaver Archers will, of course, be back in a moment. And the High Elf Spearmen have had to pull forward because my front line did buckle under the pressure of the Hargoneth. And I'm having to fight some of these guys with my Spearmen, which is unfortunate. But the Archer Fire is still pouring in. The Walmart Dragon does get back up in the sky. And he's going to be getting just a good and tasty breath attack, just roasting some of these Knights. A little bit of collateral fire with my my spears here, but for the most part, I would definitely say that was worth it. So we get the breath attack right there. The fight is still on, but this is really rough. Tyrion is just taking a huge beating from all these troops. The Witch Elves with their poison, really doing a lot of damage. Malekith is able to do pretty good as well. So Tyrion is broken, and just to help me hold my front line, I charged the Dragon in, trying to get some burst damage on Malekith. Might have been a little bit risky considering the Sisters are there and there's so much Rampage mechanics available. Archers, unfortunately, are a little bit line-of-sighted, so they just path forward, but I will be correcting that in just a moment. But well, now that literally, like the metaphorical Rohirrim coming to the rescue of Helm's Deep, the Reaver Archers finished their job in the back line, getting rid of those troops, and now I have some pretty good charge targets. So I can charge down these swordsmen on the flank, start working on my opponent, and here comes the first charge. So they're going to be charging, and that's what's so cool about Reaver Archers. They serve like just so many purposes, such a solid unit. Tyrion in the back, really, really beat up, and it looks like there's going to be a Soul Stealer going back here. It does catch Tyrion, which is a little bit unfortunate, as well as my Dragon. But the Archers are going to be getting back, and I get a great rear charge right here with the Reavers into this Bleak Sword formation. The Dragon's going down, and Tyrion is so low. He is now below 5%, and here it comes, the Heart of Averlorn, baby, coming in hot. Heals him up to about 40%. He is at his healing cap, but that is so huge. I mean, I was starting to kind of throw the game a little bit there. I mean, my opponent was doing a great job getting back in the game, I should say. But Tyrion got really beat up. He healed up the Heart of Averlorn. He's actually broken, but he could come back, and I get my caster back as well. But my Archers getting Shrek'd really bad by Malekith's spell. So I need to pull those guys back. My front line's basically gone. He has a lot of very tattered infantry, but I also have a lot of missile play. You can see the Sisters are going to be charging the Archers, but at this point, I'm just going to have to turn and run. So I basically need to split up my Archers into efficient groups, right, where they're kind of in a semicircle around my opponent and start picking apart his troops. So the Dragon's back, Tyrion and the Fireborn are regrouping, all 7 of them. Malekith a little bit cocky here. Is going to be charging in, definitely an open target for Tyrion. So Tyrion's going to be going back in and dueling Malekith, and he does have the help of the Fireborn. So now we might be able to take out Malekith here, if not do some really good damage, and kind of force a bit of a pit fight here, which is going to allow my Archers, and you can see I have fire coming from here. My Reaver Archers here, I'm using the charge while the other one shoots Overwatch. Just kind of getting some really solid crossfire. You can see these Dark Elf units definitely being peppered, but he does have some Cold Moon Knights coming back. So I had some spears that rallied over here. It looks like 9 of them. So the Scions are going to try and stop them, but our 12 Knights here, and unfortunately he does break my Archers, so those guys are going to be out of the picture. These ones are going to have to run 36 speed against 31, so they are a little bit faster than those infantry, which is really nice. And basically we have the duel of duels, so Malekith and Tyrion. It would be really cool if they had some locked animations when they're on horseback, but I'm pretty sure they only lock in when they're actually on foot dueling. But they're dueling right here. The Fireborn are helping out a little bit as well. Malekith definitely on the short end of the stick right now, but he can't really run. 68 speed at 95, so he's deciding to just stay and fight. I mean, he could potentially fall back, but he doesn't really have much support. But here it looks like he's finally going to break a little bit. So Tyrion is going to be chasing him down, just going after him. I do break him. He's at -8 leadership. From here, it looks like the Dark Elf forces are finally collapsing. The Reaver Archers and the remnants of my High Elf Archers just kind of picking apart the Bleak Swords, Hargoneth, and Sisters of Singing Doom and all that kind of stuff, and we're able to pull out the W. So very close game, really back and forth. I was really nervous when the game was happening because I was like, oh no, Tyrion's going to go down, but then I was like, oh yeah, we have the Heart of Averlorn, that's right. And that healed us up so much. That was really huge. Walmart Dragon did pretty good. I think that I overcommitted to that center fight. I probably just could have had my Spearmen and like a couple supporting units in there, but I committed the Fireborn and the Sun Dragon, really trying to just bomb that middle pocket, but then he countercharged with a Soul Stealer, plus the Sisters of Singing Doom, and was able to just rampage like half my army, my really valuable units, which was really scary. But the Archers did well, 36, 25, 17, decent HP damage to the Hargoneth. They took out the Charybdis, and they also did a really, really solid job at picking down these lightly armored Witch Elves. On top of that, the Fireborn did okay, definitely got rampaged in the center pocket, but they did a good job with the charges in the beginning, and then from there rotating to kill the Charybdis, which was solid, but Also, another MVP were the Reaver Archers. They were able to really chase down those Dark Riders and give them the business for sure. And I mean, that's why you bring the Reaver Archers. My opponent could have been a little bit more conservative with them, but nonetheless, the Reavers can still outrange and trade very well with the repeater crossbows in the missile game as well. So there's some nice stuff there. Tyrion didn't do bad. He was okay. The Pigeon Lady is just exponentially better. Just the healing in that center pocket. If I had had like a Star of Avalorn to heal Fireborn, and the Sun Dragon, it just like breaks the game open. It's so much better. But you know, Tyrion's fun to use occasionally, and he does have a bit of a fun niche to chase down like the Supreme Sorceress. But most, you know, people will be able to protect such things using their backlines. But anyways, very well played, my opponent, Notch Grim. Look forward to running into you again on ladder, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this high elf game. Have an excellent night, guys, and take care.